the CFTC had a 5-year investigation, found no wrongdoing, okay? And then they patting themselves on the back for coming up with this judgment against Bank of Nova Scotia. Are you kidding me, CFTC? You're such a loser organization, I can hardly believe it, and I hope you're listening.
Hello there, my friends. Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics. As we wrap up another fun week in the silver market and cover some comments from Eric Sprott last week that were kind of fitting and I think might make you giggle a little bit. So let us dig in here where you can see, as I resize my camera feed up there, silver about 27.50. Again, the red line yesterday, there's the Fed meeting. Jerome Powell promises a hyperinflation campaign. Gold and silver spike up before, at least according to this chart, someone was sitting there thinking, gee, the guy said they're printing so much they have to rig inflation to give an excuse to print more, and felt they just had to sell their not only silver, but gold following the same exact pattern. And you can see platinum, which I'm a big fan of myself, again following the same pattern. Let's take a wild guess. Palladium too. There you go. And we will get into, I don't know, is that natural or normal? Is not maybe necessary to sit here, and get upset about it every day. It does seem rather bizarre. Especially because here again is that article from, it was 2010, or actually so here's January of 2010, and Andrew McGuire is explaining to Elliot Ramirez of the CFTC how one of these manipulations would play out beforehand. And ironically, what he described is exactly what happened yesterday. Thought it might be helpful to your investigation if I gave you the heads up for a manipulative event scheduled for February 5th. Non-farm payrolls will be announced. There's 2 scenarios. Both will result in gold and silver being taken down with a wave of short selling designed to take out obvious support levels and trip stops below. While I will no doubt be able to profit from this upcoming trade, it is an example of just how easy it is to manipulate a market if a concentrated position is allowed. So scenario 1, the news is bad, employment is worse. This would have a bullish effect on gold and silver as the US dollar weakens and precious metals draw bids, spiking them higher. This will be sold into within a very short time, 1 to 5 minutes, with thousands of new contracts being added, overcoming any new bids and spiking the precious metals down hard, targeting key support levels. I would say it's safe to say that describes exactly what happens here, where the news was as bullish for metals as you could have gotten. Somehow the 0% interest rates thing is now till 2025, just tack on 3 more years. And silver would obviously be lower on the day. I don't see anything unusual about that. Except maybe that this is not just what Andrew wrote to CFTC in 2010, also matches exactly what Bart Chilton said in the interview I did with him. So, and you also have the guilty confessions that the Department of Justice has got from several former JP Morgan and bear traders. CFTC actually fined Bank of Nova Scotia last week. I don't know. I have not heard of any metals holders being reimbursed. And yet here it is again, the same thing happening, which is perhaps why it's fitting. Let's hear what Eric Sprott has to say. And this was last week's call.
But the Scotia thing really ticks me off because, I've had to live through this time, 08 to 16 to today. And you just see the things that go on in the market. And, of course, during that time, the CFTC had a 5-year investigation, found no wrongdoing, okay? And then they patting themselves on the back for coming up with this judgment against Bank of Nova Scotia. Are you kidding me, CFTC? You're such a loser organization, I can hardly believe it, and I hope you're listening, because you've done a horrible disservice to the public that you're supposed to be representing here. And
I think he sums it up quite well. Again, I try to keep things positive, and if someone does something differently than how I would do it, rather than getting wrapped up in that, just focus on what's important for me. Yet, I mean, I think his words are appropriate here because, again, so all this happens and there's still no comment on something like when this happens. So, and to see something that's funded by the constituents, you and I and everybody else, and then to have the opportunity to actually do something. I mean, why not issue, hey, this is what's happening. Hey, I know there's a lot of people out there who are seeing this. Here's what's going on. Some guidance. I mean, there's, get it. You can't interfere maybe with an investigation, but it's 2 years ago that John Edmonds was charged, and we're now a year almost, I believe. It was almost last September when they came out with calling JP Morgan a criminal enterprise. Like, all right, if you're going to tell me there's some due process that takes longer, I get that. But, when you see the same thing over and over again, I think Eric Sprott is justified in calling them a loser organization, because it's like they're doing damage. They have the chance every day to at least be accountable, and instead they let the same thing go on. Although one thing I noticed is if you go on Twitter and type in @CFTC, you can actually get all of the commissioners' names. So if you feel like they're pulling, in fact, this is exactly what happened with Harry Markopolos and Bernie Madoff, where he was warning the SEC, I believe maybe it might have even been as early as 2004. And for whatever reasons, most likely political, they did nothing and ended up costing a lot of people a lot of money. So again, I don't know, maybe there is an explanation. I'm not saying that my way is necessarily correct, but I think there are legitimate questions that perhaps any of these folks will answer. I know they do their podcast, but certainly a lot of people that I think would like to hear more about that. And anyway, we will continue on though. So there's Eric Sprott. There's the CFTC. Interesting. Of course, the day after Jerome Powell's Jackson Hole speech, obviously England did not want to be left out. And now there's Governor Andrew Bailey. We're not out of firepower by any means. Talking about negative interest rates being in the toolbox. Again, that's why I look so much to gold and silver, because I assume all these plans are just printing money. It's all they know, is all they will do. Here was an interesting one about everybody's favorite bank, JP Morgan. Warren Buffett isn't buying the spin from the Fed. Apparently, Buffett has sold his JP Morgan shares. And also, they got a great quote in here. Here's Jerome Powell. You have a banking system that is so much better capitalized, so much stronger, better aware of the risk, better at managing the risk, more highly liquid. You have all those things, and they've been lending, they've been taking in deposits, yet you had to commit to 0% interest rates until eternity and unlimited quantitative easing, now further rigging the already incredibly rigged CPI formula. And then that's, I would say a solid banking system would actually be able to withstand when something happens like Corona without having to hyperinflate the dollar. But even more so, Jerome Powell, I would, is flat out lying there. Then where's the explanation for the repo lines back last September? But here, as I know, will make maybe some silver fans giddy. Buffett dumped 35.5 million shares of JP Morgan, also dumped some Goldman Sachs. and has been buying gold stocks. So you can take that as you will. Or maybe that even Bank of America sees the end game. We have, I guess it was a Zero Hedge article. He basically says there, and Bank of America's strategist saying there's no way for the Fed to stop consumer price inflation. When it comes, it's all over. I would suggest, I know a lot of people maybe aren't eating out as much. I've been eating out a bit more lately, and plenty of inflation and price increase in food prices. Now even Bank of America noticing it. Yet gold is a bigger bubble than tech, says asset manager. So I guess this is portfolio specialist Matt Orton. Price of gold has become disconnected from fundamentals, and the flow of funds into gold shows how much enthusiasm. Well, the tech sector is rising because a lot of these companies have been able to increase their market share. Let's see if we can take a look at Tesla's earnings on Seeking Alpha here. Obviously, I'm going to disagree. I mean, when you have a silver miner, I mean, Silvercrest, First Majestic, actually trading lower with silver at $27 or $28 than we've got earnings here. Oh, it's up to $2,200 today. So you have Tesla that, let's see, last quarter's earnings. So last quarter we did have a profit, which let's see if we can get the historical somewhere on here. You know, it had been quite a while since they had a profit. So not the easiest chart to read here, but in either case, I don't know. It just seems to me that when you have some of these tech stocks trading the way they are, and then you see some of the silver stocks down while the price of silver is quite a bit higher. At least that's what I'm doing. I'm turning. I've been buying silver shares and, you know, not really being too concerned about the price, especially when you have all of these things. There's Powell again. We'll let him go for today. Another note, though, here is our September deliveries, or not the deliveries, the open interest. So this is Friday morning, and it's down to 14,000. So that number has come in quite a bit. I don't know, doesn't appear that it will be a record this September. And interestingly, even in the Silver Trust, see a slight withdrawal this week. So had quite a run, couple months there, of a lot of metal going in. In either case, some mixed data for the first time in a while. So we will see how that shakes out. At least as far as I'm able to see, I'll stand by what I have in the big silver short. Again, never to say that this was going to go up in a straight line, but how I think it will ultimately unfold, there you go, is available on Amazon in paperback. You can get the audio version on our website here, where also we have a SilverFest tab that you can click on to find the schedule of SilverFest, which is coming up 2 weeks from today. We'll be watching Trading Places, hanging out, meeting other silver investors. That's where you can register. You can actually even log in. Am I logged in here? So let's join the event. Okay. Well, I'm not going to log in right now, although I have on my other browser, and we have people in there hanging out. Have some companies signing up to come, a lot of media, and as you see, quite a great list of speakers. Bill Holter is going to be joining us on this one, Ask the Experts panel, or no, on day 2. But Bill Holter's coming. Ted Butler will be appearing as well. And it's going to be a darn good time. So all these, get a lot of questions, emails, and comments. And for anything you've ever wanted to know regarding silver, well, again, SilverFest, September 11th through 13th. It is online. I know a couple people have asked about that. So, yeah, you don't have to worry about travel or COVID or Corona or anything like that. We'll be there talking silver, and it's free to attend. So you can find more information there. And with that said, going to wrap up for today, but have a fun weekend planned for you. Andy Schechtman will be checking in again, and also roundtable with David Morgan, Bix Weir, and Jean-Claude of Beyond Mystics. So hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, or you can even go to the homepage, get these delivered by email when you put your email address in the upper right corner, which perhaps you can find out for yourself since my browser is slow, and I know you want to hear more silver content, which is coming your way now.